Hi, welcome to this video. It's the 15th of August. It's Saturday. We're just going to be looking at some trade setups today. Now, in terms of trade setups, they're going to be GBPNZD, which I've looked at in a couple of videos over the last few weeks. So I'm going to update that trade setup. Also going to look at USDCAD and USDSEK. Now, in terms of this video, it's about catching big moves in the markets by judging sentiment extremes. So aiming for 500, 1,000 pips or more. So you're going to risk the reward normally in your favour of at least 5-1. Now, in terms of this style of trading, you will get a lot of losses, but you do not need many trades right to basically make money longer term. I've always liked this style of trading. Now, in terms of sentiment extremes, GBPNZD is already running well, but there's a good risk reward entry for fresh positions in that pair. And to me, USDCAD and USDSEK just look great setups. Now, what we're going to do is we will go and take a look at the charts, but just before we do so, please do keep in mind it is my view as of right now. It could of course change in line with the market conditions and action. If you want all our trading techniques, our daily technical sentiment analysis of 14 Forex pairs, you can click on the link beneath this video, get live access to our member center. You can also follow us on Facebook and join our Facebook group of traders. Now, the order we're going to do them in is GBPNZD first, then USDCAD, then USDSEK. So let's take a look at the first trade setup. Right, GBPNZD very quickly. Now, this is a trade that has come off quite nicely. Obviously, they don't all come off in the same way, but we're up about 800 pips. There's more to come. Okay, now in terms of this one, I just want to go through how we did the turning point, because that's what we're keeping in mind with the next two pairs. Okay, now in terms of what we're looking for in this instance is a bearish extreme. So it can't get any worse in our view for the British pound. It can only get better. And in terms of these points here, let me just go through them. When we were down here, that was the candle we came in on. Okay, that's the technical confirmation candle for us on reversal of bearish extreme. What was the bearish extreme? Well, market believed the UK economy to suffer more than the NZD from New Zealand economy from the virus. At the same time, we did not think that was true at all. But the bad news is in the price, isn't it? Okay, market believed the central bank in the UK, Bank of England, would probably cut rates to negative or indicate they were going to do so soon. We just didn't think that would happen either. But again, bad news in the price. In terms of on the other side of the pair, NZD, good news was priced in. New Zealand economy, you saw a lot in the media about it being insulated more than the UK economy from the slow up in global trade and growth. Well, that simply for us is not true. Commodity currencies are bound to be more exposed than one of the biggest economies in the world. But again, good news in the price. Market believed the central bank would remain upbeat and on hold in terms of policy. Okay, now in terms of central banks, the UK didn't go negative or indicate they're going to do in the near future. RBNZ, they did change their policy. They added to asset purchases and indicated they might go negative in the future. Okay, now at the turn, GBP very oversold historically, NZD overbought. So you have the big bear trend, and then the price action kind of slows up and we go sideways. The volatility drops down. So we're kind of thinking, well, bad news. People are talking about the pound going down to 180 and all the rest of it. It wasn't really going anywhere. It came down this red, and it touched previous support, but it finished red. This one, though, is the reversal candle for us. Comes down, double bottoms on this big level, comes back up, finishes blue and strong, will go long, get an additional boost, obviously, from the RBNZ coming in and indicating possible negative rates and adding to asset purchases. And it's a nice move up. There's more to come. Okay. Now, in terms of how would you play this setup? Well, my own view is I'll just draw a trajectory in there. Where's your level of support, first of all? Level of support here. 1 body, 2 body, 3 body. That big body goes up. So there's your level of support, first one. Second level of support, double body, tail. Okay, so there. You never want your stop behind the first level of support, always behind second for us. We came off the highs back below 2000. Well, for us, if it goes through 2000 next week, 2030, I just want 30 pips clear of the round number. I think we will see continuation. So it's a big round number. So there is the level. You want to be 30 pips above it. Where could we go in this pair? Well, I've got chart highs, and I'm going to extend that to the monthly resistance level of 214. But even to chart highs, okay, it's another 1,000 pips, isn't it? And if you're coming in fresh, it's a good risk to reward trade. That's your risk, that's your potential reward. Near enough 4 to 1 probably to there, but it's more than 5 to 1 up to 214. So I'm hoping it gets up there. Of course, not all trends are going to run where you want them, but even if we were stopped out of this one now, it's a decent profit. So the bearish extreme peaks, we get the reversal, and now we're looking for more upside. Now, in terms of USDCAD and USDSEK, we've had goes at them, okay, and haven't made any money. We've lost money on them, but now they look great risk to reward buys, and they could run a long way to the upside. So let's go and take a look at USD-CAD first of all. All right, USD-CAD. Now we're looking at getting a reversal. We believe that the fundamentals and sentiment can't get any worse for the USD or better for the Canadian dollar. Now, like I said, we have tried this one, lost on it. Not too much, okay, but that's the way it is when you're doing sentiment extremes. But the way I see this set up now, the technicals as well, I'm just really liking the look of it. Now, in terms of fundamentals and sentiment, USD, it's been soft everywhere, hasn't it? It's had its worst month in a decade in July. It's still pretty soft in August. Speculative shorts are at 2-year highs. Why is the market bearish of USD CAD? Well, the US economy to suffer heavily going forward due to the virus. Well, I've been looking at the data coming out of the US is coming in above forecast. I just don't believe that it will. Certainly not more than Canada's. And in terms of the US economy, I make this point frequently. 70% of GDP is the consumer. It's a very internal economy, so it is basically insulated against the global slump in growth and trade. Traders at the minute have an optimistic view of global growth going forward, and you see it in the media all the time about how quickly the global economy is going to recover, probably next year. I doubt it, okay? But even if it does, that's in the price for us. Then when the USD, and I've seen this in the past over the last 30 years, as soon as the market gets really bearish, the media becomes full of talk about it's losing its safe haven status, selling off into oblivion due to money printing. Well, the only reason the Fed are expanding their balance sheet is because there is a shortage of dollars. Of course, it's the safe haven currency. That's not going to change anytime soon. They say low rates in the US. Well, rates in Canada aren't that great, are they? Anyway, that's in the price as well. What about the CAD fundamentals? I've done a quote here. It's from Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. And I like them in terms of Canadian dollar. They very often give me ideas and trades. They're very good at analysing the Canadian dollar, in my view. Okay, don't take everything they say as gospel, but I do like their insight. And they put Canadian exporters outside the energy sector are already struggling with an uncompetitive exchange rate. Heading into this crisis, okay, something that worked to amplify the current account and trade deficits and clearly requires a weaker loonie. The market does not see the central bank acting, okay, to push the Canadian dollar down, just like they didn't see the RBNZ acting, okay. I think they're going to act, okay. Now, in terms of energy prices, they have to a degree, helped support the Canadian dollar. But if you look at the energy complex, that's topping out. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going any higher. The good news is in. You obviously, with a global slow up, you're not going to have really high demand for energy. A lot of the energy complexes got speculators heavily long. I think it's as good as it can get for the energy sector. Before we came into the virus, debt levels of Canadian households was really high. And of course, the virus has impacted on households. Lots of people have lost their jobs. People just don't have the money to spend. So the consumption will weaken from already low levels. And I think the central bank will have their eye on that because, obviously they want to help the economy and the consumer. Now, in terms of the move down, it's a big one. And get this sell off here. And I like this little red here. It pokes through a round number and immediately bounces back, but it's still red. And you get the blue and it's sort of pushing up. Now, if we go over here, that is also a longer term support level as well. So we're bouncing off the level. So I'm really liking the look of this one. And you can be, relatively aggressive in coming into it, in my view, because the level is here. 3 candles, 2 bodies, 1 tail. Okay. So I'm liking the look of that. I'll draw trajectory in as well. Probably get the idea without the trajectory, but there we go. So looking for this double trend line to give way, then how far can we go? Now, when you're measuring sentiment extremes, I'm not going to go through the full way we do it, but you need to have a way of doing it. Now, just to correct oversold in the US dollar, there is the level. Sorry, I'm going to get a cursor on it. So it's 140. That will just correct the USD's overcut sold condition relative to the fundamentals. Speculators are heavily short. We bash through this double trend line here, through those 2 bodies and the tail. We should be off the upside. And that is more than a 5-to-1 risk to reward. Of course, you can say there's levels in between. Like I said, they're not all going to get to your target, but that's another level there. It's 137. It's decent risk reward up to there. But from our reading of the sentiment fundamentals, going hopefully to 140. Like I said, we've got this one wrong before, but small losses, and I'm looking now hopefully to get a nice profit longer term from it. It runs as well as GBPNZD. Of course, we shall see, but I like it. Next pair or last pair is going to be USDSEK. Right, last pair, USDSEK, and obviously a big move to the downside. Now you've got a little bit of sideways action. I'll do the technicals in a moment. We already know, of course, the market's bearish view of the USD, but in terms of the other side of this pair, the Swedish krona, it's the strongest currency of all in the last month. Why? Let's just go through just 3 points. The Swedish krona is strong. They did not lock down in Sweden, so its economy has been less impacted than others that did lock down. So you saw GDP, I think, drop by just over 8% recently, against, let's say, 12% in Eurozone. So less impacted by the lockdown. That's priced in. And other economies, sorry, I spelled economies wrong there, are now out of lockdown. So we need to look forward. Now, going forward, the market sees strong German and Eurozone recovery. Germany is the main trading partner of Sweden. Now, I've said this in the member centre and on my blog and so forth. The idea of a strong Eurozone recovery is a myth. The data does not support it at all. But even if it does do well going forward, which I don't think it will, it's kind of priced in as well. Central Bank of Sweden, market's view is they're going to keep their policy on hold, and they don't see negative rates coming in Sweden. Now, Sweden already has a 0 interest rate, so that's below the US rate. However, the governor, Olson, has acknowledged that the central bank might consider negative rates going forward. Now, Sweden, export-led nation, and Eurozone, I just do not see this quick recovery data just does not support it, in our view. So I kind of think, the good news is in for the krona. It's had a really big move across the board. It's done well on the euro and other currencies as well. USD very oversold. I think the USD could have a bounce. We know speculators are heavily short. Now, in terms of the way the chart unfolds, you have one big sell-off there, shallow rally, then another sell-off, and now you've got the pair kind of trading sideways with the general market view that the USD could go as low as 8, but it's traveling sideways. I take that as positive for the USD. The selling is exhausting. We've got a bearish extreme. You can see the Bollinger Bands tightening. The volatility is dropping. Now you've got a level of support here. Just do that. Okay, so you did have that big blue bounce back to test on the red. Then you go through the level on the blue, but come back up. Test the level again, but don't get to that blue. Travel sideways down again to test, and now we've got a red. So I think the support now is being hammered out. So we just got to look for a break to the upside. So we want a break of the range. I'm going to do the break of the range here. Okay, so you got plenty of candles to look at here. So you got the big red down, blue to test, red to test, red to test, big blue, red, red, red. So yeah, if that gives way, then I think the bearish extreme will end, and then the dollar will mount a short covering rally. I'll just draw a trajectory in as well. So my trajectory, sorry, I can't get it lined up properly. There it is. It's kind of got double trend line to get through. Just need to get through the top of the channel. Where could we go? Just to correct oversold, in our view, the level is 950. Okay, I personally think maybe we could run a bit higher. The market is just so bullish of the krona with no good reason, in my view. Of course, I could be wrong, but yeah, it's a nice looking trade. Hopefully we break to the upside, see a nice move. I would like to get something out of US dollar trades. Recently haven't got anything out of them at all. Yeah, like I said, hopefully USD does as well as GP on the NZD. But it's all about expected payouts, okay? Against your risk, just trade with low risk, high reward, and over the long term, that edge hopefully will prevail. Right, that is the video for today. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good day.